murder. Yeah, yeah. Coming up next on the Mental Health Matters with Marty show. Listen, how do you defy mental health stigmas? Stay tuned. We're about to have a live show for y'all. You don't want to miss this. What's up, everybody? Hey, it's me. It's your boy. It's Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist, coming to you live and in living color from Southern California, where the sun is always shining. I am so glad that you're joining us today. Listen, we got a show for you today. I'm excited about today's show. Listen, you need to call everybody and tell them, get up in the room, get up in here, put them in the chat, because we're about to make it. It's going to be live and popping. I'm telling you, I'm excited about our guest that's coming on here today. Listen, I met the brother in Fort Worth. He is off the chain, and I'll give you his pedigree in a second. But listen, you want to be here. You want to be here. Let me remind you, today we're going to be talking about mental health, professional athletes, mental health, and our students, the stigma that comes along with that, and defying the stigma that comes along with mental health. We're in September. September is Suicide Awareness Month. I've been doing a 30-day positivity challenge on the Mental Health Matters with Marty Facebook page and on my IG Instagram page. Please check it out. We've been doing a challenge every day, a 60-second challenge. Today was Get Up and Dance. Sometimes you just got to dance, and that's why I love that song that we open up with. Shout out to my boy Brent Jones, who wrote that song, Enjoy Your Life, because sometimes you got to sit back and enjoy your life, because that's what it's all about. But let me remind you what this program is all about. Mental Health Matters with Marty is a show that's designed to be a support. It is intended for educational purposes only. Let me tell you that one more time. It is intended for educational purposes. We are not a substitute for your therapy. Let me say that aloud and then one more time for the Negro that's in the back. We are not a substitute for your therapy, but we are a supplement, and we are to come along and support you along your mental health journey. But if you are experiencing any type of mental health crisis, don't continue to secretly suffer in the shadow of shame, but call your nearest urgent care, call 911, get some help. We need to stop the stigma about getting help with mental health, because it's not a matter of it's a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength, that I ain't got all my stuff together and I need some help. So we don't want you to continue to secretly suffer in silence. But y'all know what I say. You got to speak up. You got to speak out so that you can live. That's all right. Come on. Listen, even today, before we get started, how do you get engaged with us? To engage in conversation so that we can see your comments. We want you to engage. How do you do that? By checking out our Mental Health Matters with Marty Facebook page and our YouTube Marcel Media Group. Again, Mental Health Matters with Marty and Marcel Media Group. Those are the two means in which we can see your comments. If you want to share with us, listen, we want you to put some people in there and tag along with us today, because we got a great show that's lined up for you. And before I go on, I got to say shout out and happy birthday to the Mac in the back, to producer himself, Mr. Daryl. Happy birthday, Daryl. We love you, man. I appreciate you. Real talk, all the work that you do for me. I can't pay you enough, but one day when I hit it rich, I'm going to give you what you deserve, man. I appreciate you. So let's all give Daryl a happy birthday, and let me know you are out there listening and what you're doing. Come on, we got a great show. So I'm excited today. Today our topic is this. We're talking about, what's up, Joseph? Yes, that's right. Beautiful South Central. Is that an oxymoron? But South Central is getting definitely beautiful. LaDon, my brother, greetings. Listen, our guest today is from Michigan. So glad you're out there, man. Hope y'all are holding it up there out in Michigan. But much love. Today, our topic is talking about mental health, pro athletes, mental health, and what it is even as a Black man and doing these things. So we want to talk about overcoming mental health stigmas. Too often we have had these stigmas. Jasmine, good evening. And what it means, like we have suffered, whether it's in the professional field, whether it is in the business realm, whether it's in our classrooms, all of those things. We have so many stigmas that's placed on, especially we as Black men, that we have to deal with on a continual basis. But I'm so glad to have this brother here today. Listen, let me just give you his pedigree. Joe Barksdale, what he has done. Listen, former NFL who played on all you Raider fans. He was on the Raiders. He played for the Raiders from 2011 to 2012. He was played for the Rams. He was Rams for 2012 to 2014. He played for the San Diego and LA Chargers from 2015 to 2018, and he came and went into retirement, ending his career with the Arizona Cardinals. He was an LSU Tigers, played football there. Out of Detroit, come on, the big D. You know how y'all do it on the Detroit. Y'all some rough Negroes out there from Detroit. I got some family from Detroit. My Aunt Fanny, she went to church with her pistol. Don't y'all play with Detroit folk. But this brother is an amazing young man. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a comedian. He's a musician. He's a YouTube host and telling us what we should and should not buy with electronics, even though that was kind of questionable when he got on the show, but that's a whole nother point. He's a producer, a dreamer, a mental health advocate, a lover of kids, and definitely talking about sharing where he has come from and everything like that when he's dealing with his own mental health journey. And I love it that he is not ashamed to share and talk about his mental health journey that he's come through, that he's continued to go through. I met this brother, like I said, in Fort Worth about 2 weeks ago, and he had me on the floor dying laughing the whole time. Glad to call him new friend and brother, because he's doing some great things. So welcome to us for the first time on the Mental Health Matters with Marty show, none other than Joe Barksdale. Joe, what's up, man?
Thanks for having me, man. Thank you so much,
man.
That was such a great introduction. Daryl, I'm sorry. I did not realize I messed up like that on your birthday, brother. Daryl, that's why I was laughing so hard. He probably like, oh, my birthday, you got this. Sorry. And then the other thing is, you said I was a lover of kids. I don't know how that.
Well, I was not loving, but you know, you have a nonprofit that. I know. Anytime a brother gives to what you gave out, over 1,500 backpacks this year.
Hey man, I'm just trying to help the community. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly.
My homeboy asked me if I was dealing drugs in the community because it seemed like a drug dealer event. He's like, you got all these backpacks, you're giving away free haircuts, manicures for the ladies. Are you selling drugs? I'm like, not yet.
Not yet. Right. But that's why I say you got to have some kind of compassion for kids to give out. Now, you didn't give out just them cheap backpacks either. You didn't give those ones that you get from down in the alley in LA. You know, them alley backpacks that you carry for 2 days and it rips.
Because I used to have one of the bags. I don't need y'all talking shit about me in my hometown. Joe Barksdale talking about he gave us backpacks.
Exactly.
This thing is terrible.
No, but you gave out quality backpack, spray ground. Those are cheap. Them ain't cheap backpacks, brother.
But they've partnered with us, and as they will continue to in the future. I dig spray ground. They've been with us since the first one, so I'm just happy to have them involved because I can't do that to the children. I don't need kids. Somebody give up on school. Somebody be like, you know what? I'm gonna put this gun down. I'm gonna stop selling these drugs. And like the bag,
right.
But I can't.
So, Joe, for those who are
stuff, You know what I'm saying?
Right. They were excellent. But listen, when I was doing a backpack giveaway, I was like, okay, now what's a good one that's still a bargain? Because these little kids. But you. Right. No, I wasn't. Listen, Jansport would have been a treat. I didn't even get them brothers Jansport. I was like, what can I get?
You get no iron-on backpacks like them T-shirts, did you?
They weren't quite iron-on, but it was a step above.
You know what? It's the thought that counts. Because guess what? There's a lot of people that ain't doing nothing.
Listen, I get it. Talk to me about that event, when you did it, and why Detroit? Why'd you pick your hometown? Why does that mean so much to you?
It was a couple weeks ago. Detroit is where I'm from, and I got a special. Like when you've grown up in a place, you want to go back and try to make a community a better place. Because so many people, you get people that, of course, stay and make it worse. And you get people that leave and never come back. And I never wanted to be the person that left and never came back.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. What you did with again giving those backpacks, and so you gave out backpacks. You got haircuts. They got manicures. I would. Yeah, you had live music. Now, did you play?
No.
Did you do a set?
It's not about me. It's about the experience and the children. Whoa, now I'm talking about it's about the children, but it's about the kids.
Okay. Did you do a clean comedy show for them?
Do you think I have a clean comedy show? Like, did you do a clean comedy? Come on, man. We were just talking about me getting censored right before this started. You gonna ask me about it?
I thought maybe scissors for the kids.
Hey man, I got a better chance of convincing Daryl I know about tech than I do doing a clean comedy show.
Listen, Joe, tell the people about who you are, who may not be these athletes. I got a lot of women folk who look at my podcast and look at the show and everything, but who may not know what you've done and kind of give us a little bit of your pedigree already. I did the highlights of stuff, but tell about who are you, man? Tell us about Joe.
The ladies are watching. I'm just playing. Ladies, let me lower the lights. No, I don't know. Myself as like a regular dude. I mean, we've talked about this before.
Right.
Yeah, you talked about the football. So I played football in high school, in college, and then I went to the NFL. Mm-hmm. Around that time, I had a really significant death in my life. I needed something to do in the offseason. Jeff Fisher suggested that I try the guitar. I started playing the guitar. I loved it. Kept that. I released my first album a couple years later, like 2 years later. Not 2 years later. Let's say like 3 or 4.
Okay, it's all good.
Yeah, it was actually maybe it was like 2 years later. I think I started in like maybe it was 2 years later. I started in 2014, 2015, and dropped it in 2017.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's
okay.
2.
Comes out your mouth. And I love music. I've always loved music.
Right.
I'm also autistic.
Detroit, come on. Detroit is the black music capital.
Allegedly. But no.
Barry Gordy had that baby sewed up.
We were the black music capital back when people were fighting for their rights.
True.
I don't know about now, but I'm trying to bring that back as well.
Okay.
But yeah, like I love music. That's what I was saying. I found out I'm autistic like 2 years ago. So I've always not. It just didn't just happen when I found out I was autistic. I've always felt sounds, not just heard them. So, music. Looking back on it was like obvious for me. I honestly was afraid of being bad at it, and that's why it took me so long to try.
Okay, but you always had this love and drive for it. Yeah.
Same with comedy. I started doing comedy because I couldn't do music. Actually, I started doing it during COVID. My wife had been telling me I should try it. I'm like, why not? Okay. It's fun. I love it.
So your house has to be comedy all the time. Here's a question. Does your wife think your jokes are funny?
Yeah, my wife thinks my jokes are funny. It's funny because my wife was trying to tell me, she'd be like, oh, you so funny. And for a while, I'm like, you're supposed to think I'm funny. We married. She's like, I don't think you understand how many lame, unfunny dudes there are out there. Like, This is a compliment. Take it. And she's right, because I mean, it's a couple dudes in the neighborhood, man. Like, do you hear yourself? That's not funny. Like, I'm sorry, but
So the wife.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go. You just tell you when you're a comedian. What's up?
When you find out you're a comedian, it's just like when they find out you do music. Oh, all of a sudden, hey, I got a bass in the basement. Hey, I got some fucks to give outside. I'm not gonna go get them though. But like, I don't care. Or like when oh, you a comedian, and they start telling jokes. I'm like, I'm not a talent scout. I just tell jokes.
But as soon as you tell people, I'm sure even when it says, "Oh, you play professional football," so throw a pass at me or something.
I lie about that.
Oh, you lie about that?
Absolutely. It's funny because like I know every time I do an interview or whatever, somebody's watching like that lying bastard. I knew. Come over here, Sarah. Look at this motherfucker. This is why I want to now. No, that's not racist. All right.
Right.
I'm sorry. But,
it's all good.
Yeah, like I remember one time a woman came up to me with a photo of me. It was a newspaper clip, and she was like, "Is this you?" And I looked dead in the eyes. No. And we just stared at each other for like a minute, and then she walked away. So I lied about it. Because when people find out you play football, all of a sudden you become this one-dimensional idiot with godlike athletic ability. And I'm more than that. Because like after people find out you play football, it's this is Joe, the football player. And I'm like,
yes.
How about Joe, the suicide survivor? That's kind of dark. How about Joe, the mental health advocate? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, so many things. Joe, the molestation victim. Please, you guys.
Right. There's so many.
And I would
Joe, I like
things than football player.
Love that because
it's you talk about a negative stigma on mental health, which there is. Negative stigma on athletes. People think that athletes are stupid and that like they wouldn't be successful in life if it weren't for sports. And they're right about 90% of athletes.
Okay, but you fall in that 10%. Come on. Yeah. But Joe, you glossed through a couple things I think that our listeners caught, but they're like, okay, is he really serious or is he joking here? But when you're talking about mental health advocate, talking about being a suicide survivor, talking about being a survivor of molestation, everything at a younger age.
They weren't trying to stab me when they were molesting me, but I know
I can't with you.
Like we was such a. I'm sorry.
Well, you survived the trauma of that event.
What else was I gonna do?
But you know what? A lot of people don't. They get stuck. You refuse to get stuck. Yes, I love it. So many different facets to a person, not just a public persona. Thank you, LaDon. You're absolutely right. This is my brother. This brother went around. He had a stroke and went to work. Now,
and he trying to say that I'm special. I wouldn't do that. Man, I wouldn't go to the toilet if I had a stroke, let alone the job. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So he was like, I'm look, got all kind of twitches and can't tell. I'm cool. Like, dude, there's something wrong with you.
I know for a fact because he just acted that out. I know you recovered 100%. Bless you.
He did.
Oh, I know he did.
I'm not making fun of my brother by no means, but it goes to Joe that we as Black men, we don't want to go to the doctors. We don't like doing those things. We don't want to deal with our mental health or those things. We much rather.
That happened years ago too, because I know people want to run like, oh, well, the Tuskegee experiment. You don't even know about the Tuskegee experiment until you got on YouTube, bro. Like not to say it didn't happen, but people want to use so many different things to, everything ain't everything's not a conspiracy.
Yeah. You're right.
As a community, talk about, get tough, be mentally tough. Everything is 90% mental, 10% physical, but we don't want to do nothing for our brains, our mental well-being. That's not natural. You have emotions for a reason.
Exactly. When did you? Let's talk through this. Why are you such a mental health advocate, and why is that so important for you? Because all over your IG channel, you're talking about mental health, man, and I love it. And
because there's a negative stigma for people who look like me.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You know, I mean, I've been talking about mental health stuff, and I mean, people meant the best, but you know, like there's a demon inside of you. We need to get an exorcism going. And I'm like, there's a demon in my hand, and I'm about to exercise your face if you don't back up, lady. I don't care whose grandma you are. Don't come over here talking about I got a demon inside. You don't even know me. Oh, sorry.
Oh, so you was at the church. You was at the church when that happened.
Yeah, but that's the thing. And Black people, correct me if I'm wrong. You know, people in general, correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of your trauma comes from church. Mine included. You don't want to talk about it, but like there's people that to this day don't even understand the religion that they follow fully because they've had such traumatic experiences in the church.
Right.
But not talking about it ain't gonna do nothing.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
But look how many people continue to suffer because we have. One of my favorite phrases is that we, especially as Black men, we secretly suffer in silence because under the shadow of shame. And I say that because we're too afraid or ashamed that, again, dealing with labels or those other things that the stigma of that's around mental health. You got to be crazy if you go to a therapist. You got to be crazy if you need some sort of help, or you got to be weak. And that's not the case. We know it's not the case.
From my point of view, some of it's not shame. Like some people don't know how to depend on other people. I don't know how to.
Okay.
Me and my parents talked today about that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I learned how to self-soothe at a very young age, and it's just been what I've been doing since. I mean, I try to open up to my wife now. I feel like an idiot every time I tell her how I feel, but you know, I'm gonna keep working through it because that's the healthy thing to do.
Right.
And I feel like, but I think that that's part of it too. Some people, you know, I mean, you've been burned by enough people. It's hard to trust people, especially with your emotions and your deepest thoughts and stuff like that. You know, everybody doesn't me.
Yeah. but you're definitely able to. Says Joseph King says, yeah, a lot of foolishness come from inside the church. You're right, Joe. I've been through it. A lot of us have been through it in that regard. So hashtag shred the shame. Come on, LaDon. Come on, shred that shame. That's right. That's right. Hello, my favorite nephew. Thank you, Auntie.
I was like, I have no idea who this woman is. I hope she's. I'll call somebody out. Oh, you my cousin. Please show me where. Because according to my me, but you know.
Yeah, that was my auntie. So yes, she's in Missouri. So yeah, God bless her.
Hey, look, ask Daryl. Wait, it's Daryl, right? Not Darnell.
Daryl, yeah, Daryl.
Yeah, ask Daryl to just rewind the tape back. My face was like. I looked like Kanye West. I was
Right.
like,
Yeah. Someone else calling. Listen, but for you, and I love that because you're talking about, and you're being real transparent. And I love the transparency of that because you're right. Many of we as men don't know how to share and open up about our emotions and feelings because we're just not taught those things. You know, we're definitely taught to shut.
I started a music career because I wasn't comfortable sharing my emotions. Hey, I don't got to talk about it. I can sing about it though.
You can sing about it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Or you can even make jokes about it and in your comedy show.
Now I will say that you definitely make jokes about it, but I was just talking to someone about this though. Like I think people think that joy is so far away from sadness, and that's not the case. I think they're a lot closer than we think they are. Sometimes they bleed over. Like you laugh till you cry sometimes.
Yes. You're right.
You know, like
yeah.
I think that at the center of like good jokes, like really good jokes, that kernel, there's like pain, but you know, like polishing and, you know, making it better and that kind of thing, it becomes like a funny thing. But yeah, like you can't make a joke if you haven't been through anything. I don't think so. I don't know anybody that hasn't been through anything that's hilarious. You let me know.
Yeah. Right. You know? Right. No, I hear you, man. Definitely with that. So how did you, since September is Suicide Awareness Month, we talk about that. Can we go into some of your thoughts and even your attempt back in the day and kind of what centered that? Because you and I have spoken about it and definitely talked about how it could help other young Black men, because I've lost someone to a suicide before. And it it tore me up. And just part of my mantra is I don't want to ever lose anyone else as far as I can help to that, because even today, and it's been about 5 years now, it's still on his anniversary. It still takes me out, because he was a talented young brother who just could not take it, and took from down here from Southern California and took a bus all the way to San Francisco. So he sat on a bus for over 12 hours to jump off of the Golden Gate Bridge. That was very intentional, and that he thought his only way out was going to be death. With that, and they have reports. So talk to us about when you were at that point, if you don't mind, man. I appreciate you.
Oh, I've been at that point a couple of times. I mean, I was going to crack jokes about how I'm not good at suicide. Maybe I'll save that for the stage. But yeah, it's happened to me a couple of times. I mean, I know what it's like to feel helpless and hopeless, despair.
Right.
You know, like, and I mean, I'm honest about it, because I know I'm not the only one.
Right.
You know? And I think that's another reason why I'm so vocal and open, because like there's a bunch of people who feel like me that'll never say anything for themselves because they're scared or whatever. No one will listen. But hopefully hearing someone else speak on it can, help someone else.
Yeah.
It's very important to me because, like you said, not only is there like a stigma around not talking about it, but like we try to avoid it. And I feel like I think one of my suicide attempts came from me trying to avoid like how I felt, and then it all hit once, and it's like woof, But like I remember one time when I was still living with my parents. It's funny, I know, I was laughing about, but like I remember I was like 8 years old or 7 years old. It was the night before my birthday, and my mom asked me if I was excited about my birthday, and I said, quite honestly, I feel like based on what y'all tell me, things would be a lot better if I weren't born, like if I weren't here. My mom starts screaming, my dad comes in like, now I got to deal with this too. So now I'm getting yelled at from two people for voicing my opinion. That was the last time that I shared like an honest emotional thought with anyone for a really long time, but that night, like, was my first time really thinking like, well, if I'm not going to disappear, I can make myself disappear. I saw a little after school special, Sarah took all those vitamins. So I went and emptied our little Flintstones vitamin. And I took all the vitamins.
Okay.
Sorry,
you're gonna be healthy.
Oh yeah, I ain't catch a cold for 3 years. No,
Right. I hear you. But
yeah, like that's I got to college, kind of the same thing. I mean, the feeling, the suicidal feelings all revolve around like hopelessness, helplessness.
Yes.
You feel like your best days are behind you. But sometimes you got to realize that like your feelings aren't real. I mean, your emotions are real, but they're not true.
There you go.
Like,
there you go.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, and then there was the time when I was playing in the league. I was injured, and I mean, my identity was who I was on the field, because
there we go.
I mean, my first time stepping on the field was like the first time that people were really happy to have me around. So I held on to that, and I was like, man, I got to be the best ever, because this is the only place I'm gonna ever get love. And then I was injured, for like substantially injured for like some games, and I didn't know how to deal with it. It was my first like major injury, really. And I finally healed up, went back to practice, got into a fight with a teammate, re-injured the injury. And that's when I was like, fuck this. Like, there's nothing else I tried. Like, I mean, it was, it was one of those, like, on top of everything else, like, oh, this was the last straw. That little, I mean, imagine, like, oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and then there's an avalanche, and boom, no light. Like, but it was weird because, like, looking back on it now, I couldn't even step outside of myself to realize, like, hey, man, this is just a small moment in time. Even if you don't play the rest of the season, like, what's that to a, But sometimes, sometimes you don't. I mean, I have a huge problem seeing the bigger picture, and I know that there are people out there like me that also have a problem. But just because you can't see it, don't mean it's not good.
Exactly. But thank you for hitting that, because a lot of times we can't see the bigger picture because we're so immersed in the problem right then and now. And then especially, and I love what you even said, if you felt that kind of love like you've never felt before, this kind of stuff, like, hey, they love me. They love, who I am, what I do. So it's,
let's be 100% honest. What do I do now? Like, what do I do
now? Producer.
No.
Okay.
But I'm saying,
okay, yeah, I got you.
Standing in front of people saying, "Please love me,"
Well, we all do that to a certain extent, but at some point in time, but listen, if you get paid for it, hey. But in that regards, but I think, Joe, when people look at someone like yourself, you have this career and this type of thing, and people don't. And then I'm saying this because a lot of times people don't think that there are some bigger issues that are live there that you have to go through. No one was there when you had to go through all the anxiety of an NFL draft or being traded or that what if I do get hurt? I don't know what that's like. And I don't know if I could stand up to that type of pressure because I've never prepared myself to be a professional athlete in that regards. And so we have to stop looking at the person and say, well, Joe can't have any problem. How could he even have any problems? If I had X, Y, and Z, then I would have it all together. And I think we have to stop judging people and start to look. And thank you for allowing us to stand in your shoes to see what that was like and what you were experiencing, and to hear even some of the backdrop of what you went through that a lot of times we didn't know about either, because we never know someone's true story.
I told you about when that, you right? did.
No.
I broke my at the Chargers home game, and like I had to get carted off the field. Someone's like, "Get up, nigga, you'll be fine." I was like, hard ER, okay, like
right.
It's a high girl summer, but
yeah. Trauma, hurt, and depression, and epidemic in our Black communities. I think a lot of our issues as Black people come from the negative effects of slavery. Yes, and personally, and I personally find it very challenging to recover from past trauma, setbacks, hurt, depression, confusion, and property. And I think you're even saying poverty in that as well. Yes.
It's hard. Yeah. I mean, here's the one thing I have not said since I've been on this show.
Okay.
I said it's easy, but nothing worth doing is easy. I mean, you look at the job that you cash your check. Like, you don't cash your check thinking, "Fuck, that was easy. It was an easy week." Like nothing worth doing is easy. Yes, it's going to be hard.
Because even talk about
liquor, people do that.
Yeah. I think even, what you and I have even talked briefly about is even some of the microaggressions, you being, especially you get up, nigga, it's going to be all right. Or some of even the microaggressions that you had to experience as a professional athlete, and some of the pressures that was even put on you. And then you said being recently diagnosed with autism and what that looks like. Even getting through being a professional athlete with an undiagnosed autism diagnosis in there, a mental health thing, and what that was even like. Man, I just look at your story and I'm just amazed by it, Joe. Real talk. I told you that. I think you have this amazing ability to overcome some major circumstances in life, even though there's been times you had challenges with it, but you keep fighting.
Yeah, what else I'm gonna do? I can't just lay down.
Right.
But
I agree.
I don't think I've done anything. I mean, there's been a lot of people who have had professional sports careers, I would say like Kanye West, he's done something. He just got his 10th #1 Billboard album. Drake's done something. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has done something. Richard Pryor has done something. Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, they've done something. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out, I guess.
But what I love, Joe, that you've done, you haven't given up on trying to figure whatever that might be out.
Oh, no.
When I look at,
Yeah, one or two things gonna happen. I'm gonna get there or I'm gonna die. Not by suicide, like you die
Right.
when you get older.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Well, I
Yeah.
know,
But
mental health, the D word.
Right. No, but man, real talk. You're a musician. You're putting out, getting ready to put out your second album. You're a producer. You're a dreamer. You got all these things, and what you might consider to be, I haven't done anything. Those of us here going, man, Joe's done a lot. I think it's perspective if you're looking at that as well, and maybe you haven't arrived at your goal. Go ahead. What you're saying?
Same perspective you were talking about the microaggressions.
Yes.
Same thing. It's just in reverse now.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm saying that as an illustration. Because I know sometimes people think it's hard to put yourself in other people's shoes, but that's what it's like.
Yeah. It is. It is.
I really do feel like I ain't done shit. Like, and people are like, no, you've done A, B, C, X, Y, and I'm like, I don't know. Because sometimes, and I will say this too, like sometimes people try to talk you out of your mental illnesses the same way that like they try to talk you into other stuff, and you go to a therapist.
So I love that you talk about you going to your therapist. When did you start going in, and what impact has going to therapy has made in your life?
I started going faithfully in 2017 when I accepted my health diagnosis. And what was the second part?
And how has your therapist changed your life?
So I will start by saying I'm not ready to say that there are bad therapists, but every therapist ain't great for every person. I'm tired of people
say that.
Man, my therapist said his favorite color was blue. My favorite color purple. This ain't gonna work, bro. Well, he ain't the only therapist out there,
right?
Because I had to try a bunch of. I had to go through about 5 or 6, and like the one that I was with before, the one that I'm with now, like this woman lied to me. Long story short,
right?
I can still be a therapist when you go back to California. I got back to California, like I specifically, because I was still playing, specifically like
right.
I'm talking about I land. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm gonna kill this woman. Not for real, but that's what I was thinking. Like,
right.
But yeah, I had to go through a couple bad therapists, but I can't speak for everybody else. But for me, it's either like, look, we can keep trying to figure this out, or we can go kill ourselves. We're not going to kill ourselves. We need to keep trying to figure this out.
Exactly. Sean, thank you. You're right. And I love that. You're right. And I tell people that all the time. Listen, I've actually quit. I said, listen, this is not working out. I like you as a person, but I'm not your type of therapist. Or and even someone even told me, says, Marty, I like you a lot. But I we're just not vibing therapeutically. I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling the same thing, and no hard feelings. Let me refer here. I got a couple other people I can refer you to. See if that works. But like anyone else, LaDonna, I'm on about my third, but she is where I'm making the best success. Exactly. You got to find what makes the best success. And I'll share this, part of the therapy is making sure that your therapist is continually growing as well, and making sure that we are doing what we have to do. Because listen, we can get stuck and think we're the experts. Yeah, and not grow with our patients and everything as well. There was one today that came in. I said, listen, bro, not my expertise. I know enough about it, but where you're at, I want to help bring you to where you need to be in that. And I said, hey, let's give each other a chance with that. And he goes, well, I just like your vibe. I'm like, I like yours too. Let's work it out. As we're talking about now, schizophrenia and everything. That's not my expertise in that field, but I've worked with enough of bipolar and folk in my own family with that. And so what that looks like. Tell me this, Joe, for those who may not know, we're talking about autism, because a lot of times we think of children as only being autistic in that or that. For you, what has been one of your greatest challenges at understanding that particular diagnosis, and how did it change once you realized that you had that?
No challenges in understanding the diagnosis. I say, if anything, so I was diagnosed with the mental illnesses after I was married. And then I found out about autism stuff a couple years later, and I'm just like, I went to my wife, like, hey, babe, I feel like you left, you left a lot with a lemon. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you want to get out, I don't blame you. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. You know, I don't know who proposed to you, but she was like, a diagnosis doesn't change who you are. Like, you're still the same.
That's
person.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
The two biggest issues for me are honestly like understanding my emotions.
Okay.
And social situations.
Yes. Yeah. Because autism, go ahead.
Even
You hate what?
Like small talk makes me so uncomfortable because it's pointless. Like it's logically pointless. How's the weather? I don't know. I'm just, what are we talking about? Like, I mean, language is like one of the highest forms of intelligence, and we need to use it to do more than just talk about the weather and the Lakers.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, but can I just say this? There's a lot of people who don't have the diagnosis of autism or anything like that that don't know how to do small talk or even know how to get around those awkward moments. And so
situations. I can't read faces unless you're laughing. If that makes
that makes perfect sense. Well, there's some days I can't either, and I'm just going, "What the hell am I doing?" Okay, especially in therapy, and we both getting blank looks. I'm like, "Okay, who's the therapist here, me or them?"
Notice you're focusing on something. Want to talk to me about that? Get the pen out.
Right. I don't pull out the pen. I just go, "Okay." No.
Oh, your word. That's me. Flagging your account. That's me.
No. No, but seriously, I love that you talk about that missing social cues because basically, and knowing that filter with that and how to pick up different things when people say different things. Okay. How's that?
Socially retarded.
Okay.
So I was before football, before any of that, because I started playing football until I was in my late teens. I was
really.
I was an engineer. I was gonna go work for either somebody's auto company for interior design or someone's tech company. But I wanted to be an engineer, and I was getting looks from I was at the University of Michigan residential engineering, and I got kicked out the second day because, man, you ever heard just a dumb question? So pretty much over the summer, it had been real popular. Like if someone says something stupid, powder me up, bro, slap them on the back of the neck.
Right.
So we're in a class. I want to say it's got to be like 50 computers in the room. It's maybe 15 of us. This kid raises his hand. Excuse me, ma'am, will there be enough computers for everyone in the class? Immediately, I turn around like, hey, powder me up, bro. The teacher is in the process of answering his question. Dumbass question. And so he stands up and he starts flipping over tables, punching computers, kicking stuff. And I always tell people, like, we both got kicked out, but only one of us had a $30,000 invoice.
Ooh.
Wasn't me.
Right.
But like he started flipping tables over, and I got kicked out for bullying. I got kicked out. The dude who's tried to kill himself from the side effects of bullying got kicked out for bullying. Y'all see how life just goes full circle? That's just crazy.
Really does.
Hey, you bully, stop bullying. But so I got kicked out. I needed something to do over the summer. I had to get out the house. I hated living in my parents' house. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put it like this, and this is me being 100% honest.
Yeah.
I will kill myself before I go live back with my parents' house. Mm-hmm. Like that's how determined I am to never go back to that house.
I got you. I got you.
But yeah, so I needed something that was gonna keep me out the house.
Right.
Football, practices are long. I'm like, maybe I can get in shape. I mean, that was it. Like I was just trying to get in shape and have something to do over the summer, and here we are.
So now, how old were you again when you stumbled into football and then found out you were actually good at it?
Like 15.
Wow. Because a good friend of mine, they have reared their son, and he's trying to get picked up by Detroit, and everything. So they have been in football since he was 5, 6. Talking about Pee Wee and all that, and you just like walk on at 15, like I need to do something to get out the house so I don't have to be at home, and let me just kind of stumble onto football.
God's plan. I mean,
I hear
Richard
you.
Pryor is like Richard Pryor is my hero when it comes to comedy.
Okay.
First, just like Hendrix when it comes to music, especially rock music.
Right.
But going back to Richard Pryor, you know, like that comedy album, That Nigga's Crazy, and then Bicentennial, you know, like all of those comedy albums came because nothing was happening for him in the movie world in Hollywood. I say that to say, you know, we're talking about God's plan and all that.
Good.
The way that he thought that they would be, he wouldn't be the Richard Pryor that we all know.
Right.
So I say that to say, like, sometimes the weirdest things that end up being great on the back end, you know, some philosophers use those to prove the existence of a higher power.
Wow. That's amazing.
And also, you can have Jesus in therapy too.
Yeah, thank you. For those in the back row of the pew again,
you can have some marijuana too.
Well, more art on that.
It grows out of the ground.
It grows out of the ground. Now, some of the ninjas want to just use it and talk about they got glaucoma and trying to smoke it anyway. But
would you rather them say they got glaucoma and smoke weed, or would you rather them be out robbing people and doing dumb stuff?
Well, you know what?
People want to look down on drug usage. I've never, ever read in the news where someone was high and started shooting up a place. Like, high on marijuana and started shooting up a place. You know what I'm saying? Let me y'all have to make that addendum. Like, no, there have been people that have done it. But, you know, like, the stuff that kills you is legal. Cigarettes and liquor.
Yeah. But Joe, I think what you're talking to is really when people understand who they are, they understand what their limitations are and what their strengths and limitations are. We get a better understanding of, and then we can operate betterly. Is that I just made up a new word? We can operate more functional and we can activate our greatness once we understand who we are. And too often, light me up, Scotty. LaDon, I'm not even playing with you today.
LaDon knows. Here's the deal.
Yeah, that's y'all from that D.
The only reason, you
Detroit.
know what? Especially with black people, if you want to really hate something, hate tobacco. Because it's one of the reasons we're here in the first place. We were not brought here to harvest marijuana. It was tobacco and cotton were the two major things. Like, it's just so many back like that. Like, people will look down on you for smoking weed, but you can smoke cigarettes that are, you know, like, that's fine.
Cough up a lung, huh?
Alcohol is fine. Come on. Man.
Right.
We have to start thinking critically about what we're doing. That's all I'm saying.
I totally agree. We have to think it that way so that we can even be a better version of ourselves and what you are doing, man. That's why I appreciate it. So moving right here, musician, comedy,
it's
tech
art.
Reviews.
It's art.
What's that?
It's art.
Yeah. Art. It is. And I love that. What does art do for you, especially with just even, you know, tempering? You know, I love art. I always love music. I've never disciplined myself to play an instrument, but always love music.
You said, what does it do for me?
Yeah. How does it? Because to me, it seems like it's one of your coping skills. With just as you said, you know, you may not be able to express your emotions, but you can definitely sing them. You can play them.
Comedy started out as a shield for my emotions, actually.
Okay.
Like, as young as I can remember, whenever people would get like too personal or too close with questions, boom, jokes. And then there's just more jokes after that. I mean, my therapist thinks I'm hilarious. But
you are hilarious.
But you know, like, that's not good, because like part of it is a reaction, like, oh, we're getting into my feelings. You know, like, time to drop a punchline or something. But it became art when I found out about who Richard Pryor was, and that's why he's like, you know, he'll always be my favorite comedian forever until I become my favorite comedian, but that'll never happen because he'll be my favorite comedian. I found out about how fucked up his childhood was, the things that he was dealing with on the inside. Kind of the same thing with Kanye West and Drake in terms of music. Like, you know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in terms of enterprise. I mean, Marvin Gaye, like,
yeah.
You are pressed to find a great person that wasn't dealing with something because you're mentally healthy. You don't even want to be that person in the first place. You know how many people out there that don't care about being famous? You know, that don't care about, like, I could never get on stage and do those kind of things, and I wouldn't want to. Like, you know, something is mentally off. You know, and I don't know. I want to say this too when it comes to therapy. Your heroes go to therapy. Michael Jordan has a therapist. Kobe Bryant got a therapist. LeBron. You know, you want to talk about music. Drake's got a therapist. I can't speak to Kanye's. I don't know what's going on there, but Drake's got a therapist. I believe King Cudi has a therapist.
We hope Kanye get about 5 therapists.
But see, that's the thing with Kanye, and I get it. Like, I get it. Everything. Like, I remember hearing that Sway in the Morning conversation, the whole, you ain't got the answer, Sway. I started yelling at the radio at the same time. Because Kanye was talking about how he had put all this money and he was just trying to explain his frustrations, and Sway coming at him with all these answers. And it's like, bro, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to explain to you, like, you know, like you coming and talking to me about, oh, you should do this, you should do that. I've lost millions behind this. You've lost thousands. Relax.
Right. You know there's a major difference.
But he did not articulate that the right way. And so now everybody thinks he's crazy. And that's just not the case. Because I have the same kind of episodes. I don't have access to my Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. You know why I don't have access to my Facebook or Instagram? Because a couple months ago, I got on Facebook and took a hit out on myself.
Yes, you did. Yeah. You told me that.
I said I would give somebody $10,000 to come put a bullet in my brain. And I guess everybody's just doing great after COVID because ain't nobody hit me up.
Well, we're glad they didn't hit you up. Tell me about it. This is part of the comedy routine now. But no, man. But I appreciate your honesty of that.
Because that's how people feel.
Yeah.
Like, you can't show me a person that hasn't at one point in time in their life just like, boy, I just wish I didn't exist. I'm not saying you wanted to kill yourself. You got some. It's like, man, it would be nice to not be. You know, there's even commercials that want to get away. Like, it's the same thing.
It really is, and I have that conversation with a lot of my patients because I'm of the thought process that as long as we're not activating that several of us have at some point in time thought, and I'm not gonna lie, I've even thought about it because I grew up in a domestic violent household, and I'm just like, you know, hell, I might as well not be here because this is not changing, or this pain at this time feels too great that we're dealing with, or when life gets to be overwhelming. All of us have thought about that.
But it doesn't always have to be like an emotional thing either. Like, there's been times, I know what I'm about to say is crazy. There's been times where, like, I leave something upstairs or something like that. I'm like, man, I gotta turn around and go back upstairs. God, I'd rather die than have to walk back up all the stairs. Like, you know, like the laziness kicks in. Like,
right.
Man, you know, I hate doing the dishes. Maybe if I just, but you know, I don't know. I'm just saying it's normal to have all kinds of thoughts in all kinds of situations.
Exactly.
Be, you know, like, oh man, I must be suicidal if I'm thinking about dying. I'm like, no, you're just thinking.
Exactly. And knowing that and knowing the balance between all of that and knowing when we might need to get some more help or with that. And that's what I love about what you shared, Joe. I appreciate your boldness in sharing those thoughts because a lot of people would not believe that, that many of us have the courage to share that in the way that you shared it. And just being Joe. Man, I just think you're amazing just because you're Joe and that you're not afraid to share your story, your perspective, or any of that. So getting caught up in our feelings can be very dangerous at times. We got to work on getting our mind right. Joseph, you're right. We do work on that. And I think that's one of the key elements that Joe has been stressing here is getting our mind right so that we can function in the everyday and function in achieving your greatness and moving forward. Yeah.
Everybody benefits when you're doing better.
Yeah,
I think we need to realize.
Of course,
because even like my wife benefits, my kids benefit, and like
yes,
you ain't gonna do it for yourself. Do it for the people who love you, who are gonna be there regardless. Let's make it a little easier for you.
That's right. That's right. Joe, listen, we've been on here an hour. I can't believe it. Our time has gone by, man. Listen, how can people get a hold of you? And you got to come back, man. Listen, you got to come back.
I'd love to come back.
Man, I would love to have you. But how can people get a hold of you?
Man, just Google Joe Barksdale. It ain't another one out there right now. No, I'm just... People want to hit you with I got this website, I got this Instagram, this Twitter. Look, you can Google Joe Barksdale music, or you can just Google Joe Barksdale. You can just Google Joe Barksdale. You can go to josephbarksdale.com. I'm gonna just leave with those two things.
Joseph, okay.
A laundry list of items, and it's like, hey man, my attention span.
Man, I appreciate it. Okay, when's the next project gonna drop?
That's a good question. Oh, Monday. I'm dropping a song once a week on Mondays for the entire year. So next week, and then I split the project up into 4 different parts. It's tributes to four of my artistic heroes. Kanye West was Q1. George Lucas was Q2. Right now we're in Jimi Hendrix, and then Marvin Gaye is Q3. And the first letter of all the songs spell out the people's names on each of those quarters.
Wow. Okay. See, that's creative. That's art. That's art. What you're doing, man.
Albums are named after the middle names. So it's Omari, Walton, Marshall, and Pence. Because you can't name something like I couldn't name the album Kanye West. I don't need that smoke.
Right.
Yeah,
where can we find these at?
Everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. Just said Apple Music. Tidal. YouTube. Okay. Look, burn it for your friends. Just listen to it. I don't care. And I will say too with this project, like not all of them have singing. Not all the songs have singing on them. They're very a lot of them are very biographical. I also recently released a Star Wars project with Kevin Cabral. But you can see all this stuff on these music channels. Check me out and hit me up. Let me know what you think. I respond to messages and so forth. I'm not that scared.
Love it, man. Joe, I can't thank you enough, brother, for being on here. Can't wait till we hang out again in person. I'll be in Houston in a couple weeks, man. But yeah, got to definitely reach out and connect with you, man. I appreciate you so much for coming on, just being transparent, sharing with us your journey, telling Black men that it's okay that we have some mental health challenges, but it's better that we go get a therapist and that we can also see Jesus and have a therapist. But I don't want to see him face to face too soon with that. Auntie, thank you. My auntie, she always give me a shout out and everything. Joe's just relieved that you ain't his auntie because he wasn't for sure where that was from and everything. But LaDon, man, much love. But please check out Joe. Listen, y'all, I want to thank you for joining us tonight with this amazing guest that we've had, Joe Barksdale, who's been with us to share his mental health journey. We want you to please reach out, download his amazing music that he is, and just to remind you, Black men, it's okay that we definitely see a therapist. It's okay that we may have a mental health diagnosis. And what Joe has explained to us and showed us and demonstrated tonight, that we don't allow the diagnosis to determine us, but we determine the diagnosis. So again, I want to thank you. Please check out our website so you can get some more things. We got some amazing things out there. Check out our website at mentalhealthmarty.com because we got some amazing things on the website. Of course, we want to remind you about our Stop the Stinking Thinking journal that's out there. And y'all, I promise, Mrs. Mitchell, I'm going to get the book out for my birthday in October. We'll start pre-orders. That means I got to finish writing it. So Stop the Thinking journal is out there. And also the Black Mental Health Matters t-shirts and hoodies because it's getting ready to get cold out there. Listen, we had a great week of sales in that t-shirt and hoodies last week. Please check them out. We would love for you to continue to support us along in your mental health journey. And then also check out my podcast at Mental Health Matters with Marty podcast. If you are an Apple listener, please give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a review so that other people can be tune in and join that too. And then become an I Matter member of Mental Health Matters with Marty by texting I Matter to 855-717-1272. Again, y'all, I want to thank you so much for joining us. What an exciting show. Listen, invite other people to come and join the restream of what we've done tonight as Joe Barksdale. I cannot thank Joe enough. Man, that was so cool. I can't wait to have him back for our next show. And again, in this journey called life, we don't want you to continue to secretly suffer in silence, in the shadow of shame. But y'all know how I say it. We want you to speak up. We want you to speak out. We want you to live. But more importantly, enjoy your life. See you next time.